Hi, I'm Orange County Commissioner Emily Bonilla of District 5, and I'm here with Ruben Saldaña to discuss gang prevention awareness. And he's going to share share the Facebook Live with his audience.
As soon as I can find it. Are we live right now? Okay. So okay, there it is right there. So if you give me 1 minute, I'm going to share this with my family, friends, and our support groups, which are many. I'm sharing away right now. Choose the toppings. Then there, do one more.
And so while he's doing that, District 5 encompasses Winter Park, Maitland, some of downtown Orlando, north of 5th and East Orange County, including Bithlo, Crestwest, and Wedgefield.
Toby's.
And so we're going to have him introduce himself.
As the commissioner, I'm Ruben Saldaña, like known as Coty Ruben. I do youth crime prevention. We utilize youth mixed martial arts to kind of like lure the kids off of the streets and into the rings and cages. A nonprofit is United States Fight League based in California, the oldest and most prestigious youth mixed martial arts group in America. I've been training over 600 kids in East Orlando, based in Oak Ridge and OBT, Paramore, Pine Hills, Timber Scan. Pretty much wherever there's high crime in Orlando, we're there. What they call feet on the streets, literally, grassroots, literally. We've been training outside in parking lots, in backyards, bracing up the good Florida sun. And I've trained over 600 kids in the past 6 years, not a single arrest under our watch, to include mentors, which is important with all the child molestation going on these days. Not a single ambulance shift is needed in our numerous training sessions and competitions throughout the United States. And I can add Rome, Italy for the first youth mixed martial art world championship last August in the Olympic Center, where Team USA became number one. We united with several gyms throughout the United States under the United States Fight League, fought against 27 countries, I believe, of some great countries, Russia, Mexico, some very Ukraine, number one. We are the number one team. A lot of people don't even know that in our backyard here in Orlando, that we're actually creating world champs, authentic world champs, not just by name. So that's what we do. And I do it. Do you want me to get into why I do it?
Yeah,
I didn't wake up one day.
Started it.
Yeah, I didn't even say I'm going to become a coach one day, or none of that ever happened. I just had a heart for the kids because of lived experiences. Myself, being raised in Miami, joined the gang before I even hit puberty, hanging with them at 11 and 12, I officially joined at 13. Eventually became the leader of the biggest gang in Miami. In my ignorance and stupidity, I want to say at 15 years old, I moved here to Orlando, Florida, because my mom said it's a great place to change. And instead of me embracing Disney, I brought the Miami Hurricane to Disney and kind of like tore it up over here. Ended up starting my gang here, chapters here. The first time a Miami gang was actually started here in Orlando, Florida. And we became the biggest gang in Orlando in the Spanish areas, which at that time was Oak Ridge, Cimarron, Bonilla area, and a little bit in Pine Hills, basically the Spanish areas. And ended up going to prison at 16, not juvenile facility, not over there in Michigan above me, actually adult prisons at 16 years old. And it didn't do me any better. I was never really given a chance at what they call rehabilitation, but I'm not here to blame the system. I have accountability. I was living a youth criminal lifestyle, but now that I'm older, I know why. So through my lived experience, I'm able to relate with the kids and the parents and people as yourself and law enforcement and explain. We've pretty much all got it wrong on why it exists, how it exists. There was a time that I would blame it on single parents, and that is a lot of the case, but it's not all the case. I know to this very day some of the leaders of the biggest gangs in the United States right now, and I don't have to say names. You can statistically look out what are the biggest gangs in the United States. And when those names pop up, I happen to know several of the leaders, and formerly or active. And they came from great parents, mom and dad. My leader in the biggest gang in Miami had his mother and father there all the time. So what went wrong? We can blame it on the single parents because we know a lot of mothers are struggling or working by themselves. Well, that's not the case. all the time.
So I would suspect that the situation is different for every person. So what do you think of, what do you feel has been the common denominator of people who identify gay?
I think the common denominator of why kids end up in gangs, and I say kids because most of the adults you see now, even the great leaders, this was a kid thing. We all started as kids, like 90% of us. Some of them you might find gang members right now, 50, 60 years old, literally still representing their gangs. And it's something that they picked up when they were a teenager and they refused to let it go. So what happens is the common denominator is love. Simple. Love. They didn't get the love in the household that they would get on the streets. So say, for example, they built a bike in their backyard. Mom and dad wasn't like, oh my God, that was great. You just built the bike, right? No, but if they go steal something from a store and come back with some candy, the homies, the homegirls in the hood are like, great job. Where do they feel loved, right? So, it's actually a false sense of love. There's a trap at the end of that. And then when you're dealing with gang members as kids that become adults, you're dealing with two different kinds. You're dealing with the majority, which are followers. Everybody can't be a leader, right? So what happens with the followers with the dead end road is, and they do these crimes for this fictitious love. And then we already know where the story goes. You're in the grave or you're up the road behind bars, right? So either way, you find out it's a betrayal. You're following something. Even some of the leaders may have good intentions, but you just followed that leader to where they ended up at. So now everybody's sitting there looking silly at each other like, we should have done this, And a lot of leaders, and I can say this and I stand on comments I know about law enforcement may disagree with me, but a lot of leaders that are incarcerated right now behind the biggest once upon a time criminal street gangs, they don't want their followers doing crime no more. They don't want it. Some are actually issuing violations for getting involved. They don't want it. It's not a cool thing anymore. I'm amongst the kids that, are in that community where there's crime. It's not considered a cool thing anymore. It's actually cool to not do crime anymore. And I know a lot of people say, well, tell that to such and such who just got robbed yesterday. But if you look at the statistics of today, and when I was being raised in the gangs in the 80s and 90s, you can't compare it at all. And then you have your leaders, right? And this is probably like the 1%. The leaders, what people refer to as the hardcore gang members, the ones that can't break, the ones that are all in, they have a sense of loyalty that to this day I respect. And a lot of people respect. Even some prosecutors, when they're honest and they're speaking openly about it, they say, I highly respect, he didn't snitch, she didn't snitch. And they went to the graveyard with it, right? But what if we could take leaders with that said, you can't buy loyalty, you can't sell it, you can't even teach it. It really has to be ingrained, like in the nature, and it's a rare breed. What if those leaders had a corporation or a business to become community healers? What if those leaders were given equal opportunity, even after the crimes were committed, and then we gave them that second or third or fourth chance, whatever? What if they were given a chance to be part of our military, to defend this country when it's needed? And I say that just personal opinion, nobody else. I don't believe all wars are justified, right? But unjustified. What if they were loyal to the commissioner? What if they were loyal to your aide? What if they were loyal to the mayor's office? Not blind loyalty, but like, this is the right thing. There's a sense of loyalty that you can't buy with gang leaders. And they have it. They have that loyalty, the majority of them. So you have your followers and you have your leaders, but they all want the same thing, love and attention. It's how they were neglected of it as kids. So they get it from each other. Opinion.
Do you feel that things are changing society-wise? I mean, now kids don't even want to go outside to play their video games. I don't feel it's exactly healthy, but it seems, and maybe you alluded to it, that the number of games or gang participation has gone down. What do you feel that's happening in society? Because I'm thinking maybe video games has something to do with it as well.
I agree with 100%. And the facts of this, first the opinion, I don't think, and I don't want to rain down on the top matter, the great work you do with the top. I don't think Orlando has a gang problem. I know Una Vision reached out to me last year. It was like Orlando was chosen out of like 11 cities to the gang problem. And first thing I was like, what gang problem? Like, I would see a gang problem at all. I'm not being blind to. I deal with kids in the most high crime areas. I don't see a gang problem. And I think it's exactly what you said, right? For example, the 80s and 90s, if you were in one of these high crime infested neighborhoods, you would know exactly who the gang members are. Why? Because they're hanging out, right? They have their bandanas, they have their colors on, you see their handshakes. Where do you see that now? Where? I don't see it anywhere in Orlando, nowhere. And like I said, I am in them spots where the crime is going on, and I would see it. I would see the kids talking about it. What I do see is a lot of wannabe gangsters, but like you said, they're home gangsters, they're internet gang. They're tough on the internet. They represent when there's 2 or 3 of them in the house. Not to say that the kids these days are cowards, because that would be a misstatement, right? They're pretty brave when it comes to standing on what they believe in. But yeah, I don't see a gang problem no more. And I'm wondering if it's because the leaders have issued down that we have to stop this, man. Some gangs started to protect their communities there and became the terrorists of their neighborhood. And then now these guys have grown up, they're like, man, look, we're around people and they're scared and terrified of us. But we're supposed to be like the heroes of the neighborhood. The real first responders, the real ones that if something's happened to the or the old lady on the corner, we don't have to call law enforcement right away because we're there to protect them. And that's, a lot of gang leaders are older now. Maybe they issued it down. And like you said, they're hiding on games or whatever. I don't see a gang problem in Orlando. If there is, I'm willing to work with any law enforcement to bring down the crime, not as a snitch, because you make me a snitch, you make me lose my credibility as a messenger to the kids. I don't think we have a gang problem. What we do have, though, is a parent problem. And that deals
We're talking about kids here, though, because I know we do have organized crime.
Right, correct.
That's happening in Orlando with human trafficking and drug dealing.
Correct.
But that's more adults and organized crime. It's not gangs with kids.
Right. Yeah, like the gang, exactly. You hit it. You're going to have your criminal organizations. What has to the gangs, what we used to label as gangs. Like I said, I don't want to get into the name of the gangs. I don't want to offend anybody. I don't see it anymore. I don't think we have a gang problem. And like I said, I know there's certain law enforcement who probably disagree with me. Oh, yeah, but listen, I'm on the streets, not with a badge, not with a cop car. When they see me, they run. I'm there when they're not running. They're running to me. And I just don't think we have a gang problem. I recently been in Compton, L.A., all over New York, Bronx, Brooklyn, been in Chicago, been in New Orleans. These are all over Texas. These are pockets where you would think like the gang, even there.
That's where gangs used to be prevalent.
Right, exactly. And a lot of copycat gangs here in Orlando and Miami came from them spots or were wannabe from that spot. Some of them were authentic, some were copycat. Copycat gangs are dangerous too because they're trying to live up to the standards of the real gang members. You know what I mean? So they could be just as dangerous. But, I hit those spots and even there, it's not like it used to be. People here join these gangs and glamorize these other cities as if they go there, there's going to be like 1,000 of their gang members hanging out. Well, it's not like that anymore. So I think
that's great news that we're moving forward as a society.
Absolutely.
But does that solve the problem that we started with about love being in the family from the parents on, loving your child? Because right now they're loving on, I guess, video games. They're also loving on the attention they're getting on social media. They're not really out there socializing with each other in the real world. And then we have bullying on social media. And so I see what you're doing is something great. That you're taking the kids, you're getting them involved with something, taking them out off the couch, we should say. And so what should parents be doing more so that their children feel loved? Because it's a hard time economically. I mean, it's good for some people, but the majority of people are working 2-3 jobs. We have a lot of traffic issues in Orange County, which people can't get home in time to be able to help their kids with their homework, or be there to encourage them or put them into sports because they're too busy on the road going to work, maybe 2 to 3 hour bus rides. So how can parents offer their love and attention to their kids?
I think you hit it on the nail, the whole breakdown call. This is what I refer to, though, as the home coronavirus recently, right? We're worried about the foreign coronavirus. So when you deal with the house coronavirus, corona, right, the crown, the wreath around the head. So we got mom and dad, high and mighty, the king and queen of the household, which, of course, that's what they are. But then you have the virus, right? The virus, right? The virus is going on. So how do we cure that virus? Is the parents have to start paying attention, because what happens is the parents want to cry, right? Understandably so, including my mother that was through all this, cry, right? Hate the gang, hate the system, hate the police officer, hate the prosecutor, hate everybody, right? But the accountability for himself went after the fact, after the child meets somebody on social media and goes out there, like you said, and gets involved in sex trafficking or gangs or criminal activity or the kid is so antisocial because all they know is the computer, that when they do get around people, weird stuff starts happening, or they start committing crimes that we consider very weird, mass shootings and things of that nature. So I think one of the answers is to catch those kids at the schools, right? Stop bringing into the public schools, for example, gang awareness. And no disrespect, the United States Fight League was started by a former law enforcement officer we happened to have met last year when he flew down from California, Mr. John Frank, right? So this isn't a hatred towards law enforcement, but stop bringing in law enforcement to the schools to talk to them about gangs. The gang members don't respect it. I know for it, they don't respect it. Stop bringing in girls or boys who give this gang story, but they became snitches at the end of the story. They're not going to respect that. You have to bring in the credible messengers, those who have the credibility to bring the message of youth crime prevention. It doesn't matter who does it. It doesn't matter if people don't like me and don't want me on this, and no problem. You don't like that. I got a tattoo. I'm Latino. I wear a Miami Hurricane hat with an Orange County shirt with Emily Bonilla on it. Whatever you don't like about me, go get another credible messenger. It doesn't have to be me. Get people involved with the kids to bring and the parents have to step up. They got to take that corona and wear that crown. Because if not, what does a social worker do? What do you do? What do I do? What does the video do? Absolutely nothing. The parent watches it. Oh my God, that's so great, right? And does absolutely nothing. And a lot of times the parents, the mothers in particular, are overworked. Like I said, they're working 2-3 jobs to provide for the child, but they still have to wait. Stop providing just financially, provide time. It doesn't have to be through money. It doesn't have to be through traveling far. Literally, put the phones down. What game do you like, Poppy? You like Monopoly? You like Salt? You like Spades? I'm going to learn how to play. You like dominoes? Let's play this for the next 2 hours and call your friends over. And that's a sign too. If a child is scared to bring their friends around their parents, there's some stuff hidden. So they need to learn who their kids are hanging out.
Yeah, well, definitely knowing who your kids are hanging out with. We always meet all the parents and kids that my kids are hanging out with. But you bring up a good point when you were saying, what do you want to play? Because that's quality time. It's not what we as parents want to do, but what do the kids want to do? My kids love it. Their best time is when I do what they wanted to do. Like, I play the board game that they want to play. Even if I want to play I play the video game that they want to play.
Right.
Or even just sit down together, cuddle, and watch a movie that they want to watch.
Right. Yeah.
May not be the movie I want to watch, but as long as,
right.
they feel like, oh, wow, you took the time to sit down and watch something or do something that I want to do, it's very special for them. And They definitely remember that. And that's quality time.
You're right. I do it all the time with kids that aren't mine. Like, I'm training anywhere from 50 to 200 kids a week, weekly in these neighborhoods. And sometimes conversations or games, whether it's there and, however we're playing them. I do, here's what I say, I hope none of the kids are watching this, they probably will eventually. Well, fake listening and fake watching, right? All they care is I'm there. My ears are open and they think I'm listening, and my eyes are watching the boringest movie or that I can't relate the language or anything, but I'm there watching it, right? And my mind's everywhere else but on that, right? But it's the time. It goes back to the time. Love equals time. Time equals love for the child. And there goes your youth presidential right there to be in the form of any.
It's definitely a memory that stays with the kids forever, because I could share a memory that I have. I grew up as a neglected, abused child, and one of my earliest memories is that we were actually in a shelter, me, my mom, and my little brother, and to pass the time, because you had to be in the shelter by a certain time, so we were there, and that's when I learned how to play Go Fish with the heart.
Yeah.
And that's like a memory that I have. It's like one of my earliest memories, but it's a memory that is really, it's really fresh in my mind as if it happened yesterday.
Right.
But awesome. It was that, even though we were in a shelter, it was that quality time that we were together doing something that us kids wanted to do.
Yeah, and look, you had your whoever was with you, your mom, dad, or guardian at the time. It's funny you mentioned that, because some of the poverty communities, like I remember my current wife right now, her kids always spoke about this Halloween. I wasn't on the scene then. When a Halloween where they didn't have money to pay for it, I think they were living out of a car. So I mean, I could be wrong, but she went and cut up a bunch of stuff and made them into like an 80s group. And those kids, she has pictures of those kids, her 4 kids always speak about that being the best Halloween they ever had. And then when they got older, she started making money. They had a nice house in Watford Lakes and all this stuff. And they did the Halloween trick-treating around there where they got the big candy. It was fun, but they always spoke about that time with poverty. I guess it's because what you said, mom didn't drop it once. They go trick-or-treat, we'll pick you up 2 hours later. No, it was there. They cut together, they pasted together, they made this these uniform rights. The time. That's the answer to this whole thing. Youth representation, time.
Quality time.
My opinion, it's time. And I can stand the straightening, but until otherwise, I think I'm 44 years old now, and I still deal with the most, I don't like to call them at-risk kids, but underserved kids in the United States, and it's time.
And I don't want parents to feel like it's time that they have to spend every day either, or there's really no such thing as life or work-life balance. I really don't believe in that, because if you try as much as you can, you'll never achieve it. So stop stressing about trying to achieve it and just take that quality time whenever you can.
Try.
Like, that's what everyone should focus on, not trying to do an hour every day. Instead, just try to find that quality time that you could really put the effort into, because those moments are the ones that the kids are going to remember, rather than they're not going to remember every day you spent an hour doing something.
Right.
If you spend that one time.
And if you don't have that time, say a parent doesn't say once a week, get them involved in one of the community programs or something dealing with where they have to socialize with other kids. I do the martial arts.
It's so important.
It's everything. Yeah, we weren't created to be cavemen and women. On the Caucasoid Mountains, or we were.
Like the cavemen had people with them.
Yeah. Well, it was full of friends, right? Yeah. But we are social creatures by nature, and we need our kids to start socializing at a young age. They need it. Absolutely agree 100%. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I think the takeaways from this is definitely children need to feel loved. Parents need to show that love through quality time.
Yeah.
And make sure that their children are socializing in positive environments where they're also feeling special and getting that love.
Thank you for taking time to put time into this, right? Because not a lot of people care about it before. What if they don't care about it? They don't take out the time like you have to I can't think of anybody this year that did any kind of gang prevention, but yourself. And last year either. Maybe I'm wrong, and I apologize to anybody out there who has that in Orlando. I don't see anybody else really but you, so I want to thank you for taking out the time to do that.
You're welcome. But I mean, as a teenager, I had my best friend, ended up dating a guy who was in a gang. And yeah, it wasn't,
They lived happily ever after?
No, they did not. So I will really not. We have ended up in jail.
Oh, God. Yeah.
But it was definitely at that time, in the 90s when there was a lot of gangs around.
Yeah, especially in Orlando. Yeah.
Well, this was back in Massachusetts. It was a Lowell, Massachusetts, which, if you look at the history,
they still have a gang problem right now.
Probably do.
Right now. Yeah, they just made headlines a couple of months ago. He still have a criminal gang going on over there.
Oh, one of the reasons I moved out to her.
Right.
I think so.
Well, the 90s was 90s in Orlando was pretty packed with gangs, and they were authentic because they were moving from California, they were moving from Chicago, New York, and Puerto Rico, and Miami, myself, right? And so the gangs were pretty authentic here in Orlando in the 90s. I left, I did my prison bid. I don't know what happened to it, whether law enforcement cracked down hard or whether they were like, man, I'm done. I know a lot of them got married. The rest of them.
Another takeaway is people can be rehabilitated.
Oh, absolutely.
And give back to the community.
Absolutely.
I
absolutely.
highly believe it.
Right.
Including,
Right.
So thank you so much, too, for everything that you're doing, giving back to the community. Yeah. I'm going to say you're definitely an inspiration.
Is anybody wants to get in touch in Orlando, outside of Orlando, I need travel expenses paid for free. I'll come out. I'll speak wherever you need me to speak. No, we didn't write down the script. This is all freestyling it. And I'm willing to do it as long as it's for a cost to the kids and you're not trying to make money off of me. We're all doing it for free. It's all good. Trying to make money off of me. I need some of that paycheck. I'm a volunteer because she's not getting paid for this right now, right? I'm playing. But seriously, anybody wants awareness of gangs in Orlando, I'm willing to come for free.
Thank you for watching.